Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to another Noodle streamer rants. I am joined today with Senpai Spiv himself.
Hello, hello.
Spivvy Poo, moderator of my server, friend of mine from a while, like over a year. And he's been through some stuff with me, and we have something that we feel we want to talk about today. It's a little bit of a heavier topic than the last topic I talked about. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna be looking this way because this is like where all my notes are, so don't be like being sussed. Oh, maybe I just look like I'm looking at Spiv, but anyway. So just for a disclaimer, I'm gonna put a disclaimer up on the screen, but just for a disclaimer, do not send hate to anybody in this video that we're gonna talk about. Like, don't send hate to anybody who we're gonna talk about. Obviously, we're gonna talk about GidKidDAD. Don't send hate to him. Don't send hate to his family. Don't send hate to anybody that he affiliates with. Okay, that's not what I want my community to be about. I feel like we need to talk about this because I feel like a lot of streamers don't realize that there are people who will try to take advantage of you. So this is not for an audience to hate on anybody. This is for an audience to be educated on what you should avoid. Okay. My story is going to start off with when I first started streaming, I got with a charity group, a charity stream. And they called themselves, and I want to say he called himself because it wasn't necessarily just like, it was one person basically, one person who was like running the whole deal. And his name was Josh, or GKD. Okay, GidKidDAD. So he called it the GKD School for Charity. Okay. And what this School for Charity did was it claimed that because he had a degree in marketing, it claimed that they would help small streamers out to grow, okay, while also helping out charities. And so that was the claim, all right? I have a lot of points I'm going to discuss. I'm going to summarize them here real quick, just so you know what we'll be talking about. We're going to talk about like some of the first red flags that he exhibited, that the group exhibited. And when I say the group, it's not necessarily like the people. It's just him pretty much. But he ran the group. And I think
the structure that he made is
yeah,
what the group's referring to.
Yeah. Even so, he had a lot of mods, and he ran things by them, but with the way he ran things, I don't think that it was the mods giving A-OK to a lot of things that I'm going to say were really sus. So definitely don't send hate to them. I'm pretty sure that it was just all him, because even when I spoke up against certain things and I said things to him, he would shut me down. And so I feel like that's what happened with his other mods. I can't say anything about that, so I'm not making commentary on those people. So I had just graduated from college, and I thought that this was a breath of fresh air, right? Because I got a degree for marketing as well, right? So I was thinking it was a breath of fresh air that somebody was using business for positivity. They were using business for like good. And I would always see when I was in at my college, there were so many people who were very slimy with the way that they did business. And that's always what people like think about when they think about business people, right? Like, oh, they're slimy businessmen, car salesmen, whatever. Like just nasty business practices. And I thought this was cool that he was using his platform and his knowledge to help, okay? He acted like he cared about charity. I'm all about charity. So, but we're gonna talk about the first red flags, okay? So we'll get into it. The first things that personally rubbed me the wrong way, and I don't know if Spiv is gonna have different, like not opinions, but like different feelings, like when he started feeling rubbed the wrong way, but for me, the very first thing that rubbed me the wrong way was that instead of using normal ways to grow on Twitch, right? he came into my DMs. I don't know if it was him or his wife. I can't remember, but it was one of the two. I don't know if it's like super important, but one of them came into my DMs and was trying to sell me that, oh, you can join a group where we can do charities. Okay, we do charities every month. We do a charity stream every week. Like, you should join. We're giving shout outs to new streamers, right? We're live right now. I'm pretty sure, like, they said something about being live right now. We're giving shout outs to new streamers. You should join. And we do charities. So I was like, oh, okay. The only reason I was semi okay with that was because they were doing charities. Like, other than that, I would probably be, and I still am, like, sussed out about it, because door-to-door salesmaning does not work. Like, it doesn't work in the long run, because I didn't come to you for your product. Like, I could probably care less about your product. You have to shove it down my throat for anybody to care. And then it's Twitch streaming that they were selling, right? They're selling a personality. And if they were trying to do that, like, because I'm also a marketer too, right? If they were trying to do that, they should have come into the DMs and talked about, like, oh, like, what do you like to do as a streamer? Like, how do you fit into, how could you fit into the GKD School for Charity? We have this program where we have new streamers. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your stream. We'll tell you about ourselves. That's networking. But the way that they came into my DMs was absolutely not networking. It was absolutely, let me sell you my stream. And if you're going to be selling me something that's not even tangible, door-to-door salesmaning is just such a weird way to do things, right? And so he was acting like but like, that's another thing too, is that they were acting like he wasn't selling his stream. They were acting like he wasn't selling his personality. The marketing was not in the form of getting to know other streamers, like I said. It was like literally just like to get as many streamers in as he possibly could. He couldn't care less about who he was inviting. And like, like, there were multiple occurrences of this. Like, there were people who were like literally sexist and racist in his community, and he didn't know because he didn't really like care that much about the streamers. It was all about him, but he claimed that it was about like charity. Okay. Then it turned out that it was a huge pyramid scheme. Again, he wasn't selling a product. He was selling fame, but he was selling it in a very slimy way, in my opinion, because it wasn't like, oh, hey, we're all going to work together to grow and then we're going to be famous, right? Like, that wasn't his like plan or whatever. Like, what he said to everybody was, we're all going to work together to get famous so that the charities will prosper. We care about the charities, right? And so he appealed to that like charitable drive in people, and they were like, oh yeah, we definitely we want his platform to get bigger, so if his platform gets bigger, then we'll all make more money for charities, right? And that's what people were thinking. And I just thought that was so weird, like, because he kept saying that like he wanted to become bigger as a whole, but then like later on I'll talk more about it, and like, you'll see that it was mostly just about his money. Like, he would get donated so many bits, and like, bits are Twitch currency. So like, if you don't know about Twitch, he would get donated so many bits every single day, bits and bits and bits. And people would gift subs to him, and he just like made a lot of money. And he would never do anything to like promote other streamers. It was always about him and like bringing the streamers into him, bringing the viewers into him. Okay. That was my first red flag. Right? It was the whole pyramid scheme thing, but I like lied to myself and was like, oh no, that's not like what it is. He's being genuine about it. At least it's about charities, right? Like, it's not like he's selling us money. It's not like he's telling us that we're going to be rich, right? Because he wasn't doing that.
So the pyramid scheme thing, it goes into my red flag really great, I think, because GKD, he pretty much sat on the edge of doing a lot of the scummiest stuff you can probably do. Like, not really scummy, but like just weird. Because one thing he would do in his streams, now keep in mind, he based his whole community off of streamers specifically. That's something you have to keep in mind while you hear about this. So what he would do at the beginning of his stream, he would say, any streamers in the chat type ones so that everyone can follow each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing about streaming you have to know is that follow for follow, it's not against TOS, it's not against terms of service, but it's just weird.
Yeah.
Because what happens is you can get a lot of followers, but they'll never be in your stream. So it doesn't matter because you're a live streamer.
Actually,
they'll
it is
never be
against
there.
TOS though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, in my DMs with him, he says follow for follow is not against TOS. Here,
No.
I'll just read the whole message, all right? Leaking actual DMs.
That's
Well,
okay
I won't read
because
the whole thing.
But
What
it
is
is it is against TOS. Like I looked it up. Follow for follow is absolutely against TOS.
Okay, so I say this is my first ever message to GKD since I joined the group, because he makes all his mods do the joining process.
Mhm.
So I say, I have a question about something you do. So before you have said follow for follow is against TOS, I'm curious why the beginning of your stream you let other people type ones and that isn't against TOS. And he responds, follow for follow is not against TOS, but it is a Twitch etiquette no.
Yeah.
And it'll also get you blacklisted by sponsors. So where I'm going with this point is he would do the ones in chat because he's like on the very verge of being like just a weirdo of a streamer.
Yeah.
Okay. Like he knows how to get around things but still get the benefit of them. That's like his whole thing. And that's why it seems even more like a pyramid scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And also, so we were basically a part of a team while we were in this group, is how it went. So GKD, he would make videos and he would brand them as videos to help other people.
Yeah.
But one day, and we'll get a lot more into this later on in the video, but I'm going to make a brief mention of it now. So eventually he does this push for partner, okay? And he sends everyone in his whole Discord server, anyone in the group, a 40-minute long video about him pushing for partner, okay? But we'll get into that a lot later. But that's the only two interactions I have with him in my messages.
And keep in mind, yeah, well, Spiv also was not a mod either. Spiv was just...
Yeah, I was just a normal member.
Yeah, a community
and I got
member.
Sent the video.
Yeah. One of my bigger red flags with him was that his whole brand originally revolved around and was his 1-year-old son. I personally have a huge problem with people using their kids as their brand. Like, I'm not going to say that people should keep their kids entirely out of their content, because if they have kids, yeah, obviously it's going to be part of your content at some point. Like, obviously you're going to talk about your kid at some point, but that was not what happened. What happened was he quite literally had his icon was his baby, like a stylized image of his child was his brand. And so it was just a little bit sus to me at the beginning, but obviously I brushed past it because he always talked about how much he loved his son, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, I guess he loves his son, whatever. Also, his name is literally GidKidDAD. And like, I wouldn't want to like dox his son's name, but he did. So that's why like I'm okay with saying this. Like, his son was literally called Gideon, I'm pretty sure. And so he was, his whole brand was Gideon's like dad, like the dad of the kid Gideon. And like, that was his whole brand, but his son was never in his content. So it wasn't like he always took care of his son because he was like a single dad or something. Like, his wife took care of his son and his whole brand was, oh yeah, I have a child. And
now I do want to point out,
uh-huh.
That since this era, he has moved away from that. Like, now he uses himself.
Yeah.
But the main issue that you're going to come to see with this guy is at the beginning, he took every possible like shortcut,
Yeah.
scum move possible to grow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then once he had a platform, now he has begun to move away from that.
Yeah.
So that is something to point out and note.
Yeah, that is
That
true.
this is all everything we're talking about now was a year ago when he was first getting started.
Mm-hmm. You can still see it on his merch though. So if you want to like see what his original logo looked like, if you look at his merch, it's still on his original merch. And he still has the X-Men like babies because of his child.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So no, it's okay because you're right. You are right. He did change his logo since then. And I would have been low key fine with it because at the time I was low key fine with it because I was like, he loves his son. Whatever, like fine. Until I got into VCs with him, like voice calls. And every time I'd get into a voice call with this man, if his child was anywhere in the vicinity, he was impatient. He was not having it. And so it would be one thing if it was like, oh yeah, I love my son, whatever. But anytime he had to babysit his son and his child was crying, he sounded so impatient. Like he did not want to be. And sometimes he would even yell at his child in voice calls. And I was like in shock because his child was literally a 1-year-old. Like 1-year-olds do not know the difference between like crying about anything or like if crying's not okay. Like they just don't know. It's not like it's a 5-year-old who's throwing a tantrum or like an 8-year-old who's throwing a tantrum at that age. It's literally a 1-year-old, a baby was crying and he would be yelling at his kid and then he would mute and then he would come back on and he would be like, oh, sorry about that, guys. Like, yeah, I don't understand what his problem is or whatever. Like, I don't know why he's upset, blah, blah, blah. Like he just sounded really annoyed. And I always was like put off by that. And that was one thing that was like a huge red flag for me.
And this is not us saying that he's like some terrible monster father.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I'm not saying he's a terrible father. Like I understand being impatient, right? Like, cause I'm impatient. But it was just weird that was like his whole brand and like his whole clout like grab was, oh look, my son is so cute. I'm a father of a son. And he was always talk about how he was a father of a son. And then whenever he was around his child, he did not seem happy. So it just seemed very clout chasey to me. First red flags.
My biggest problem with the whole thing is children, especially since the majority of his watchers were adults with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was usually typically older people because he knew that's who had money. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so majority of people that he was targeting for his audience was parents, and I don't think your child should be the forefront of your advertising, really, even in general, like in real life, because babies, they're cute and everyone wants to support them and everything. So that was my biggest issue with it. And then it didn't really help that when the baby was around, he seemed like it was an inconvenience while he was streaming or talking to people.
Yeah. So the next topic of discussion that I would like to speak on are things that personally gave me the ick in my relationship with him. Okay. As I started to get settled into the community and I learned more about like the different lengths he would go through for clout, I started to see his facade start to fall. Okay. I feel like I'm generally good at reading people, but like sometimes it takes like a little bit longer for me to gauge. And I think it's more like I was hoping he was what he said he was, you know? So the very first thing that started giving me a little bit of the ick was he did a stream where he asked women, including me. I was one of the streamers that he asked. And at the time I was a really small streamer. Like I'm still a small streamer, but at the time I was very small, like less than 100 followers. I'm pretty sure, like really small. And so he asked like women streamers to come on and talk about their experiences of sexual assault or sexual harassment on the internet. he invited me to speak on it because obviously like I'm a woman and I have like things that I've gone through, right? So I thought it was a great idea to use his platform to speak on it, right? But then when I was on there, like the whole time he spoke over us, like, so a woman would give like a 5-minute testimonial and then he would speak for like 15 minutes. And I understand that it was his stream, right? Like, and I, even at the time, like I felt kind of like sussed about it because I was like, well, he asked us to come on and speak as women about this topic, right? And it felt like it would be a good, like time for us to use a bigger platform. But then like, as it went on, it was more like he was using us as clickbait, more like, again, he was talking over us and I thought like, I'm a small streamer. I don't want to be stepping on toes. So it's his stream. I don't want to like think anything of it, whatever. That like kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit.
He still needed to be the star of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Basically,
exactly.
That's the big problem.
Yeah, exactly. And then a second thing that gave me the ick was that every month we would do like a week of charity streams. Okay, so it would be like every month it would be a different charity. And then we would like take a whole week to stream about that charity and like raise money for it. And each like month had like a different gimmick. I think one of them was we played like a certain game. We just played certain games for certain charities or did certain things for certain charities. And one month we did the Trevor Project. And for those of you who don't know what the Trevor Project is, I think it's a great cause. I think you guys should look into it, donate to it. Whatever. I did the Trevor Project on my stream after this as well. It's essentially a suicide prevention service for LGBTQ plus kids who are oppressed or in dangerous positions. And it offers them resources and information as well as access to counselors and a place to find people who could relate, like other kids who are in the same predicaments. And I think it's a great cause. And I genuinely was so excited to do it. But then after he announced that after a lot of consideration, the way that they would celebrate the Trevor Project was that they would be cross-dressing on stream. And personally, I thought that would not be good for many reasons. And there are many reasons more than the reasons I'm going to give as to why this is a bad idea. But I reached out to him. Like, don't think that I didn't speak to him about issues that I had. I definitely did. I reached out to him. I said, hey, can we talk about this? Because I wasn't a mod either. So he spoke with his group of mods or his group of, what were they called? They weren't called mods.
Like team leaders.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing was separated into different colored teams.
Mm-hmm. When I came in, it was like the beginnings of it. Like he had literally been streaming for 3 months when I came in. So he announced that and I asked him if we could speak about it. And I told him it was a bad idea, plain and simple. I said for many reasons. In my opinion, to hateful people, it would make it seem like transgender people were just putting on a costume. Putting on a costume because we were cisgendered people who were going to cross-dress and put on a costume and say, look, we understand. You know, we understand now. And I just thought that was like not okay. I thought that it would feed into the point of like the haters' point of, oh, it's their choice to be trans. Like they don't actually have to be trans. It's their choice to transition. And I didn't like that. It gave me ick. It did not make me feel good. And
another thing, let me cut you off real quick. Another thing to keep in mind while we talk about this specifically is this was a very welcoming community. Mm-hmm. So like everyone was nice to anyone. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter who you were. So there were quite a few LGBTQ plus people and trans people in this community. So mm-hmm. keep in mind during this day what they may have been going through.
Yeah.
Okay. While we get more into this, there was multiple people in the community who actually were transgender.
Hmm.
And this one day, this is what they had to go through. Okay, you can continue.
And most of the transgender people were not mods. That was another thing too. There were a lot of transgender people who were not mods, so they didn't hear about this. They didn't have a say in it. So it was a group of cisgendered people saying this would be a good idea. And so I was like, this is a bad idea. And I told him that. And then I said, also, like, obviously it would be insensitive to say that, like, oh, we cross-dress on a platform, a small platform of 3 people, right? And we probably won't get hate because it's a small platform and we're cisgender and we don't, like, live that life, right? We don't have to go through the physical, mental, emotional trauma, right? But oh, now after one day of cross-dressing on a platform, a small platform, we're gonna understand. Like, we'll understand all the problems that they go through, all the, like, hardships that they go through. And I just didn't like that. I thought that was a really bad idea. And he claimed that they were still going to go through with it, right? Like, he, like, brushed me aside, was telling me, like, no, I think it's a good idea. We're still going to go through with it. We already decided. We're already going to do it. And I was like, okay. And he said, and let them hate, right? And another thing about him was that he loved haters. He loved it when people would come into his comments and, like, say opposing views, because he would literally curse at them the entire time. Like, he wouldn't have any, like, good, resources to show them or, like, anything like that. He would just curse at them. And he loved the drama that came with that. So I think that's probably why he was doing it. Obviously, as per, like, what I'm going to say now, he definitely loved, like, just the hype about it, right? The bad hype about it. He said that they would do it respectfully. That's what he told me. He said, oh, no, we'll do it respectfully. And they knew what to say to the others. They were all informed on what they would say if a hater came in, okay? But when he actually streamed, he wore a dress and he had fake boobs and he shook his ass on camera and shook his boobs on camera, like, as if he was, like, mocking, like, being trans or being a woman. Like, it was just so weird. It was so weird. I was like, you said you would do it respectfully, and instead you're just dancing around and, like, making it off to be a costume, like what I said. There were obviously a lot of other smaller things. Spiv, do you have any input on that?
So, I don't think he was intentionally mocking. I just think he was completely ignorant of anything he was talking about. Mm-hmm. But it very much felt to me like he was only doing it because he knew he would get high praise from it. And he felt like this would make his community more welcoming and things like that. Which it obviously was not how it went down. Yeah. Because he's sitting here, he's dancing, he's making people who are cis cross-dress, and that made people, like, I don't really see how that would help. Yeah, and also,
trans people were uncomfortable with it too.
Yes.
In the community.
That's what I was getting to. So if you're a trans person and you get told this is cross-dressing day, do you just go back to your quote-unquote, like, actual gender? That's not what it is. Yeah. But, like, from his point of view, what do those people do? So what ended up happening is all the trans people they were just themselves. Yeah. So they just stuck out like a huge sore thumb during
that
this
is day. True. That is true. I didn't even think
because
about that either.
If you're clicking through all the streamers and you see obviously people are, like, dressed up, and then there's people who are just living their normal lives, they like put a huge target on them. Yeah, that's true. Because you would have never known if they didn't just do their normal stream that day.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, that was the biggest part that made me uncomfortable, because I'm like, well, are they supposed to dress, as who they are, or are they supposed to changed their way too.
Yeah.
Like, are they? So the whole thing was just really weird to me.
I just thought it was poorly thought out and poorly executed, very badly executed. He should have said that only the mods were going to do it. If he was going to do that, only the mods were going to do that. But even then, I still don't think it was a good idea. But he said only the mods have to participate. Nobody else has to participate. But then, like you said, then somebody might click on the trans person's page and be like, oh, haha, are you cross-dressing too? And like be a hater and like actually send hate to the legitimate trans person.
Yeah,
like
I was gonna wrap that around to your earlier point, how he loved haters, right?
Yeah.
So he would always welcome arguments with people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Like he loved shutting people down. So he has this environment where haters are very much welcome so he can use them for content.
Yeah.
And then he puts the transgender or LGBTQ plus people in a position where they literally have targets on their head.
Yeah. If most people decided not to do that, because I didn't cross-dress because I thought it was a bad idea. Like if a hater comes onto my page and says, are you cross-dressing? Like it won't strike a chord in me. Like it won't hurt me, right? Because I'm not, I didn't go through the trauma, right, of transitioning. I didn't go through the gender trauma, right? But if they say that to a trans person, even though they, like, even if they don't stand out, right, it's still gonna strike a chord. Like that's not gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So he's welcoming haters, and then people in the crossfire, which are his like the people he's trying to make a safe space for, are going to be hurt. And I didn't appreciate that. That was one thing I didn't appreciate. And you're right, Spiv, about that.
The whole thing was just a terrible idea.
Yeah, it was poorly thought out. It was poorly executed. I thought there were a lot of smaller things he did that didn't require a long explanation or like stories, but I still think they're worth mentioning. So one thing he would do, which kind of like, I don't always like to like throw out the term narcissist, but like from being around a lot of narcissists, it felt like he was a little bit narcissistic. One of the things that he would do was ban users for donating too much to him. And I don't mean to like the charities, like donating too much to him. And he claimed that they were only trying to steal his followers by donating money to him. And that was like one of the most weird things I heard about, like, to this date. He did a whole week long of BLM streams during the George Floyd, like when George Floyd was murdered. And that, like, it felt disingenuous to me because as per usual, the way that he executes things, it was like very disrespectful. Like he wasn't talking about the actual issues. It just felt like a huge clickbait. And he was talking about how every single cop was rotten to the core and how, like, if you're friends with a cop, then, like, you're a bad person, and that no cop can be part of the system and be a good cop, right? Like, there's no way. And it just felt very disingenuous. And he actually hurt some people of color in his community with that as well, because one of his main team leaders was a person of color whose brother was a cop. And it just seemed like it was disingenuous. And he spoke over people of color in that stream, or in the week of streams. And it also wasn't tied to a charity. Like, it wasn't tied to, at least what we remember. I don't think it was. I'm pretty sure it was just him talking about Black Lives Matter and gaining all the clout and taking all the money for himself. Like, he didn't have a charity or resources set up for things to change. And obviously, I feel like movements like that should be lifted up. Like, it absolutely was horrible what happened, but it was just really weird that a white person was using that as clout. Like, I feel like a good way to talk about that was Markiplier's speech about it. I don't know if you heard Markiplier's speech about it, Spiv. But he spoke very like somberly about it because it was like somebody died, somebody was killed, right? And he spoke very somberly about it, and he spoke about how there is an issue in the country, and it was one video and it was demonetized, and it was like he demonetized it, and it was not long. It was literally a short video about how things are messed up. But that's not what GidKidDAD did. GidKidDAD did a whole week of him ranting and cursing out people in his chat. And it just turned into like, it was just a very weird thing. Like a man is dead. And this is the way we're going about it. It just felt like kind of strange. And all the donations went to him.
The reason I felt so uncomfortable during this week
Mm-hmm.
was it very much did not feel like these streams were dedicated to spreading the message. It felt like these streams were dedicated to him seeming like he was using his voice in like a good direction. When he talked about so many things that had nothing to do with this during these streams.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much said everything he thought people would want to hear,
Mm-hmm.
but he never brought up the actual problems
Mm-hmm.
at all, from what I remember.
Yeah. But that was one thing. I know I'm sandwiching it in with like some other things that aren't as bad as that. I thought that was like one of the worst things. I didn't want to talk much on it because I do think that it should be on a platform, right? So even though I think his intentions weren't good, same with the charities. His intentions were not good, but at least the charities got money for it. You know, at least he was donating to charities. I thought that was good, at least. So I don't want to say
he at least gave attention to it, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not a huge point.
Yeah.
Because he did benefit from it quite a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, he was putting it in a light.
Yeah. So that's why I don't know what to say about it. Like, it's hard to talk about those types of things because it should be platformized, but I don't know. He's just a whole mess. Like, everything that I have to talk about him is the reason why I feel like people should avoid it. After many people left his group, one of my friends who had been a huge supporter, he asked not to be named, went back to check on one of his streams to see how he was doing. Okay. And he was a huge supporter of him. He was in the community for a while. I think even before I was in the community. And Josh, GKD, acted like he didn't know who he was. Like, so disingenuous. So, like, it wasn't like his community was so huge that he didn't know who anybody was. It was literally, like, pretty tight-knit, and he knew names, and he knew this person. And he pretended like he didn't know him. So I just thought that was a little bit scummy. After I left, he made a rule that GKD School for Charity members had to take priority for raids after streams. So if you didn't raid a charity member, then they would shame you for it. And I know like several friends of mine who said that they literally would be raiding their friend with like two, like their friend had like 2 viewers, and so they would raid them. And then people in their comments in their Twitch chat would say, you know that XYZ member is streaming, right? Like, just the most like weird Twitch etiquette I've ever like heard from. And so a lot of people left because of that, because it's like, you can't dictate who I raid, right? Like, it's just so weird. That's just so weird. And another thing too is that GKD was not the reason most people were growing. Like, he did not help people grow at all. It was very much like, bring people in to help me and I will get bigger, and maybe y'all will get bigger in the process. But we were the ones bringing people in. It was not him doing all the advertising and stuff. It was very much he was sending us out to do advertising for him, and then he would act as if he gave us our fame because he was bigger than us. And it was like, but we're the reason, because it was a pyramid scheme, right? We're the reason you have the money in the first place. Like, you're not giving us anything. We're giving everything to you.
I actually love this point, and I would like to put my input. So a lot of people thought that, so a lot of people in GKD hit affiliate, and they were growing, but they don't really understand that they were only growing because in the small teams, people became friends. And that stuff would happen without GKD at all.
Yeah.
Like, if they had just joined a server and made friends, they would have grown the same way. So what ended up happening is you're in this big server and you get put into small little teams and you talk to your small little teams, and those small little groups would all become friends. That's how me and Noodle became friends. Well, we were friends before this, but we really started talking a lot during this time because I think we were put in the same group, if I remember.
I'm pretty sure.
So what would happen is GKD, he would be tabbed by everyone. Everyone in the whole thing. And then the small groups, they would do actual, like, you know, they would actually talk to people and grow how you can normally. And so to them, it seemed like being in this group is what grew them. But really, it was them talking to people. And
them networking.
Yes, networking and making their own small little communities. So it gave a lot of people the impression that this was all working, that he's being true, you know. And so it put a lot of people in a loop. And I feel like that's how it lasted up until the big things that started making people leave. Like, you had to raid out to people in the group and things like that. So it was just bad all around, because even though he had these courses for us, he never told us about, you know, networking. He left that out. And I think he did it intentionally because he knew people would see that they're growing there and just think it's because of him.
And I feel like too, it was weird because he would, he personally would say, oh yeah, we all raid to each other. Like, I'll raid to people eventually. I'll raid to people. I'll raid down. We'll all raid down. We'll all raid up. But he would only raid to people who had their own viewers, like who had communities that they had built. Like what Spiv was saying, he only raided people who networked and made something for themselves. And then he would obviously get raids from them back, right? Because people felt like they owed him something. And then he would be bigger because of that. So it was never, like, he would never raid people that he invited that were smaller, ever. So it was just very, like, weird and disingenuous, but it is what it is. And at some point, he changed his school for charity to, like, a charge entry. Like, you had to pay to join. I wasn't around for this, so I don't know how long that even, like, happened. I don't even know if it, like, really went into effect. I just know that that was part of his model, was that he was going to charge people. But I thought it was funny because he was talking about how he was going to teach people how to navigate Twitch, okay? Because he had a marketing degree. But he never taught anything. Like, he had videos, but it was never him teaching. It was always other people. Like, I don't want to name names because even though it's positive, I feel like people are going to ask them about it. But it was always the big streamers in there who were teaching people things because they knew about Twitch. GKD knew nothing about Twitch. He was just a marketing major. And then when people had questions, like, I remember my friend, like, even Spiv, I'm going to say Spiv because I don't know if other people want me to name their names, but if they were on console and they didn't know how to set up their overlays, he would just be like, oh, that sucks. Or, like, if people wanted to play Among Us with us, they'd be like, oh, just play on your phone. And they're like, but
not stream.
Yeah, we had a plan to stream today. And they'd be like, oh, that sucks. So they weren't actually helping anybody. It was just mainly like,
I helped more of the console people than anyone else because I had to figure out the roundabout way to do it myself.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because he would make all these videos about how to stream, and it wouldn't be like how to grow your stream. It'd be like how to set up icons for your bits when you get bits,
Hmm.
and like small things like that, like
Like
how to
easy
set up your
things too.
overlay. Yeah. And so new people to streaming, it was obviously very helpful for them, but that's not going to get you to 1,000 viewers.
But
Like
even
setting up your
then,
bits,
that's not going to be helpful to like new users either, because that's only going to be helpful to affiliates. Like
yeah,
new users were plumb out of luck too, because he would do the whole like set up your overlays. But again, it wasn't him. It was somebody in particular who I'm thinking about. One of the bigger streamers who was in his community.
mm-hmm.
And they did all the videos. He didn't do those videos. I don't think I ever saw. And he would say like, oh, if you have any tech questions, ask him. And it's like, well, then what are you teaching? Like it was just odd.
Any other videos he made was about how to help him out.
Yeah.
Like that, the push for partner video.
Okay, so the final thing that I would like to talk about is my last straw. Okay, I don't know about Spiv's last straw. I think it's similar. I think we left it pretty much the same time, me and Spiv. So I'm just gonna call it the last straw. Spiv can elaborate, and I have elaboration. He had a stream that I will coin the guilt trip begging stream, because that's what it was. Okay. So the whole time he claimed, this whole time like that we were in the streams, right? He claimed that he was streaming for charities, okay? That he cared about charities. And one of the things he drove home all the time, he like always commented was, the more we grow, the more I grow, talking about himself, the more money we'll make for charity, okay? The more awareness we'll get for charity. Isn't that great, guys? Like, that was something he talked about a lot, okay? But obviously the points I made above made me speculate as to his true intentions. But this stream in particular drove home to me, drove the nail into the coffin with how blatantly obvious and disrespectful it was, okay? So one thing that needs to be like, I guess, put out there was that at the time he did not have a job. Okay. He started streaming after he got out of a car salesman job, which if you think back on it, it makes a lot of sense. But I didn't want to say that at the beginning because I don't like necessarily like making, it's not a straw man attack. It's just like, not all car salesmen are going to be scummy. But because he's scummy, it just adds to that, I guess. I don't know. It's just weird. But so he was a car salesman. But he didn't have a job anymore. And he didn't have a job since he started streaming, like since before that. I thought his wife was a teacher. I was pretty sure she was a teacher, but other people told me that she didn't have a job, that she was a full-time mod and parent, like a stay-at-home mom and parent, and mod. And like that's what other people told me. So I don't know if that's true. I'm not gonna like make a comment on that. Another person said that he actually had family money, that like they had money from their family, or they were set, right, to live. Clearly he had a lot more money than most of the streamers that were on there. Just like if you sat in any one of his streams, like any one of his streams I sat in, within the first 5 minutes of being there, you would see like constant gift subs, constant bits, constant money flow into his account. Constant, okay? It wasn't just like sometimes there would be gifted subs, sometimes there would be bits. It was constant all the time. And so it was pretty obvious to any streamer that he had money or that he was making money, okay? And most of the streamers, like, they were not able to full-time stream because they had to be having a job. Like, this was around COVID, so people were like stuck inside, but they still had to go out. And even if they were immunocompromised, they still had to have a job. And so this whole thing that I'm going to talk about right now is very disrespectful to me, in my opinion. So disrespectful. Like, for so many reasons, especially because most of his viewers, like Spiv said at the beginning, were streamers. they were not viewers. They were streamers who were also struggling, who were also trying to make it. So it was just very disrespectful. Okay. So obviously they had a kid. He grew within 3 months on Twitch. Okay. He hit affiliate within 3 months on Twitch, like less than 3 months. He was at 1.3 K viewers, or not viewers, sorry, followers within 3 months of being on Twitch. That's an insane amount of growth. Okay. Crazy growth. Literally, he commented on how much money he made one time. And I thought that was disrespectful, but I was like, whatever. Like, he made thousands of dollars, like, a month streaming. Okay. People streaming, like, even me right now, I don't want to out how much money I make, but like, I definitely make like a tiny fraction of that. Like, if you're lucky on Twitch, in the beginning, you'll make like $100, like, because that's the payout, is $100. A lot of streamers were not even making payouts, so they weren't even getting paid out yet. And he was crying about making thousands of dollars on Twitch to his viewers.
2,000. I think it was 2,000.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money on Twitch.
He said, "I'm only making like 2,000 a month right now, and that's just not enough for me and my family to live," I think was the quote.
Well, obviously,
again,
it's not enough,
a year
but...
ago. Yeah, this was a year ago, so the number may be different.
Yeah.
But he's saying that to people who get like 4 average viewers. Okay?
Yeah. People who barely make
like,
payout.
There's
who don't even make
people who
payout.
would cut off their arm to make just that much from Twitch.
And so he was like upset about, and this was all in one stream, okay? So he was saying this. He did a partner push before this stream. Spiv can tell you about that.
Oh yeah. Everyone in the whole server got a 40-minute video about this partner push.
So he did a partner push before this stream, okay? This stream was his like being impatient with us, okay? So he did his partner push. He was begging people to lurk him up, and lurk just means give you a view, like open up the tab and give you a view. And so everybody in his channel opened up his page and gave him a view, okay? But apparently it wasn't enough for him because he wanted to hit partner and he was upset that he like didn't have the views. He literally sent everybody in the channel like a 40-minute long video on why we needed to help him get partner. And when he didn't hit it, yeah. Oh. No, go ahead.
The summary of that video, I'll save everyone watching the 40 minutes, was essentially the sooner he hits partner, the sooner everyone else hits partner. But I'm going to press X to doubt on that one.
Yeah. But so he didn't hit partner, obviously. He's still not partner. He's actually not even affiliate anymore. But that was also for scummy reasons. So he didn't hit partner. He was upset about it. The whole stream was him complaining about the fact that he didn't grow quick enough. Literally 4 months within starting streaming. Actually, I think it was 6 months by that point because I've been streaming with him for a while. He was upset that he didn't hit partner. But becoming partner on Twitch takes actual growth, though. Instead of marketing solely towards Twitch streamers, instead of viewers, he wasn't marketing towards viewers. So that's why. And then, like, according to him, the money wasn't enough to take care of his family. But, like, the whole stream was him guilt-tripping his viewers into always, like, watching him. And then he started talking and donoing. He wanted people to dono more, too. Like, oh, you know, we make a lot of money. This is what he said. We make a lot of money for the charities. And, like, I understand that, like, that's, like, an important thing. But, like, I'm not going to be able to continue streaming if I don't start making money. And he literally paired it with the fact that they were making money from charities. So you could definitely tell that he was salty that when he did charities, the charity made a lot of money and he didn't make money. So it just showed his true intentions to me. That was one of the main reasons why I quit, because it was the true intentions were shown, the true colors were there. It was obvious. A lot of people started leaving at this time. Some people were pretty sad because, yeah, their whole community that they became friends with people in, like, was going to end because he didn't make enough money. So they started, like, begging him to stay, saying, no, we'll lurk you up. We'll donate more to you. Like, no, please, we'll help you. it was just so like not okay.
I remember as he started talking about this and he started acting all sad, someone gifted 25 subs.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I really appreciate those subs, but that is not enough alone. Like, I still don't make enough.
Yeah.
And so even more people started gifting subs.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole stream, he was like, guys, I really appreciate the love. I love you all. But this one stream isn't going to be able to keep me streaming for like months and months and months.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely what he wanted, but he just kept pushing it. He just kept telling people, you know what? That's not going to change it. It's going to have to be a lot of money.
That's tough, guys. That's tough. I'm going to have to stop the school for charity. And he literally was talking about abandoning the school for charity, okay? So I left the community. I'm pretty sure that was my main reason. I left the community for that reason. And keep in mind, too, there are a lot of things that happen in the community that I didn't even put in my, like, for time. And this is still going to be a long video. If you stick through it, I appreciate it. But for time, I just had to cut out so many stories of so many people in his community that got screwed over, that screwed me over, that talked bad behind other people's backs. Like, he talked bad behind people's backs. So many things that I had to cut for time. One of the post notes for that one was he did that stream and then he dropped another clickbaity video / stream. They were also clickbaity. Where he said he was going to stop streaming for good. No, this is a separate one. He did too.
I'm saying after that stream ended, he made a video too, a YouTube video. And
oh, really?
People. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that. But even after that one, he did another one. This was after I already left. And I saw, I saw a clickbaity like title on his stream where he said he stopped streaming for good. And I was like, oh, he stopped streaming for good? Like, great. No more manipulation is happening on Twitch. I know there's other manipulators, but great. And then, of course, like a dummy, I clicked on it, and that's what he wanted. And it wasn't, he was him sad at the beginning, pretending he was crying, talking about how he was going to quit. And then there was hype music. And then one of the big streamers who like worked with him, the one who did all the videos for stuff, came in and was like, hey friend, I've got this idea. Let's work on it together. Oh, no, he called his friend. And he was like, I've got this idea. Let's do it together. I'm going to stop streaming, but the world needs me. So narcissistic. He calls his friend. He's like, the world needs us. So we need to make some copyright-free music. And we're actually going to continue streaming. But we've got this new program where we're going to make copyright-free music. And you guys can all use it for your streams. And it's going to be great. Blah, 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 blah. And apparently he didn't even make the music. He outsourced it to somebody else. And the person he outsourced it to quite literally stole like beats from songs. So streams still got muted. Oh my god. Streams still got muted when they used their copyright free music. So that was sus. Now let's talk about the BTS era. Let's talk about his...
Let's fast forward to today.
Yeah, let's fast forward.
Let's get out of the past and visit
to
GKD
2022.
in his natural habitat.
His YouTube channel. So, it's been a while. It's been a year or two. I think it's been like around a couple years, something like that. And now's the tea you came to hear, okay? This is the tea y'all came to hear. Does GKD really love BTS? My answer personally is no, okay? And I have a lot of reasons for it. Obviously, I don't know his heart, right? I don't know if he's a true lover of BTS. But I implore you to listen to the end, and I just would love for you to like give your comments about it, watch the videos. If you could, I would love for you to watch his Twitch channel and like just see the attitude. I don't know if he still streams anymore, to be honest, but just see the attitude. like, there's only so much I can tell you, okay? But he puts a little bit of it in his own video, and we're gonna play it. I'm gonna play it here in a second. Okay, not right now. From the beginning of GKD streams, okay, I had a friend. His name is Big Bosh Gaming. You should check him out. GKD had a channel point reward, okay, where if you redeemed it, he would sing a song that you choose. So Big Bosh would always redeem it. And Big Bosh loves BTS, okay, because BTS is great, right? Loves BTS. So he would redeem it and he would say, hey, can you sing a cover of BTS? And every time he redeemed it, GKD would tell him, no, I'm not gonna sing BTS. I don't want any part of that. I don't like K-pop. I think it's stupid. Like, he would go on a rant. He would say to Bosh, like, no, like, I'm against it because of blah, blah, blah. And like, a lot, like, his reasoning was because he didn't like the industry. He didn't like the K-pop industry. He thought it was really manipulative and wrong, whatever, okay? But in his own video that we're gonna play, he gives a lot of racist reasons as to why he doesn't like BTS in particular. And again, I don't like saying things like that, but I'm gonna implore you to watch the video and keep in mind, this is not just a clip that I clipped out of context. This is a clip that he clipped out of context to put in his positive video. And like, the way I see it is, if you're telling a story and you still sound like, I don't know, like a racist or an asshole in the way that you reacted or responded, then you're probably like, like, generally when people talk about themselves, they try to like uplift themselves. Generally when people clip their content, they try to clip the best content, right? But he literally clipped a racist comment that he made and then he glossed over it. So I'm gonna put that here.
Well, I have never heard BTS. They all seem like they're like 12. They're all the same person.
Okay, so now that you've seen that, I personally, honestly cannot believe he put that in his own video, right? His own positive video. But
I have a suspicion that the whole reason he made the video was because of that clip. But that's just speculation.
Me too. I have a suspicion the whole reason he made that video was because of that clip as well. But I just think it's suspicious that he changed his mind about BTS within 6 months, okay? So usually when people have like a scandal or whatever, it happens years ago and now they've changed. 6 months is not ample time for somebody to change, especially when it's like a racist comment, Like, at least that's my take. Like, if I have a racist opinion 6 months ago, I don't think I don't think that changes. That doesn't change that quickly, in my opinion. Even people cancel people over like things that happened decades ago. And he's okay to say that like 6 months ago and then gloss over it by saying like, I was sad and alone back then, so I didn't know because I didn't have BTS in my life. But you literally saw, like, BTS was around. It's not like whatever. I don't know. It was weird to me.
His entire life got changed within months.
Yeah, literally.
By this band. Okay.
Yeah.
He went from hating the industry completely and would never support it, not even sing a cover, to now fast forward to his whole YouTube channel being covers for the industry. Dun dun dun.
Well, if you fast forward even more, your point still remains, and my point still remains, that I personally believe he still doesn't want to support the industry. I personally believe he's just doing it for his own clout. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely for his own clout.
Yeah.
But he is supporting it though.
Yeah, but here, I'll tell you.
Thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you more. I mean, he's supporting it in a way, yes, but he's also like copyright infringing and things like, I don't know. So what I believe is once he saw how large the BTS army was, he saw it as a way to gain even more clout than the charity streams brought him, because the charity stream clout was kind of dying out because people started seeing how he really was. And it's not about the charity streams. It's not about the BTS. It's about him, ultimately. Ultimately, I think it's just like his personality's not cutting it. Like, on Twitch, I don't think he would make it if he didn't have a gimmick. And his gimmick is being an oily salesman. Like, that's his gimmick. And so he goes around and he takes advantage of small streamers. And then now he's trying to take advantage of BTS fans. And I just think that's so, like, slimy for many reasons, especially when you hated BTS. Like, he hated BTS. I'm literally going to put the clip. I literally put the clip of him in his own video saying how much he hates them, or saying how much just racist comments, that they look exactly alike and that they look like little boy, like blatantly racist comments. Like, anyway.
He's really good of finding passionate audiences because he knows he doesn't have much to offer.
Yeah.
That's why when he started, he knows the most passionate people for Twitch would be people trying to grow their own Twitch. They're really into it. But that ultimately backfired. So he had to find another source of passionate people who weren't trying to do the same thing as him, is what I think happened. And BTS has really passionate fans. And so that goes back into the point.
Yeah. And I wouldn't usually make this claim about somebody not truly liking something that they say that they like, because obviously if he did change and he decided he likes the songs now, sure, right? By all means, whatever. Like, there have been like bands that I don't necessarily love, or that I didn't necessarily love, and then I listened to their music and then I was like, oh, yeah, they're great. But the difference is that I don't then try to like rebrand my entire brand, literally rebrand my entire self to say, no. Now I'm a fan of these people and I want other fans to like give me likes and give me views, you know? Like, that's just so weird. And he completely rebranded for BTS, right? That's what he claims. He didn't just add BTS to his videos. Like, he didn't just start recording some BTS videos. He completely abandoned what he claimed to be passionate about, his school for charity. And I've seen his progression. He's done this with so many things that will get him clout. Like, anything that he thinks will get him clout. And even now, he doesn't do real reaction videos. Like, I'm personally surprised he's not removed for copyright infringement. I'm going to put a little clip of a video here, but I want you to understand, like, that he's sitting there for literally like a whole 2 minutes of the video, of the 8-minute video, like, and these are in blocks. So he sits there for a whole 2 minutes of an 8-minute video. Keep in mind, it's 2 minutes of a Jimin dance, okay? How long is the dance? Probably like 4 minutes long. It's not that long. And he's sitting there for literally half the video, just sitting there in silence, watching the video on his channel. So he's trying to literally get the view for the YouTube video and for himself. So it's just weird. And I don't think it's okay, because he's taking from that audience where it should be going to that YouTube video, because he's not even making commentary. He's just putting the YouTube video up. And his video where he talked about how BTS changed his life, that one is literally, the whole video is a YouTube video or like a music video of BTS. And he's barely talking over it. But here, I'll show you a little bit of the clips from that video right here. Okay, and so as you see, he's just sitting there. He's not reacting. He's maybe nodding. He's not saying anything. I think his wife tries to save face by saying, "This is really cool." But that doesn't fall under copyright like that doesn't fall under free use. You saying this is really cool over a YouTube video is what you could say if you're watching the YouTube video. You're not giving like commentary. And that's one thing about free use law, is that you're only allowed to comment on things if you're giving an actual constructive like commentary. And I just think it's interesting that he isn't doing that. And then finally, the cherry on top for me is his fake merch. His fake merch for his graduation video. Like, if you look at his video where he talks about how BTS changed his life, like when he takes all his stuff down in his big show of like, look guys, I'm graduating to BTS. I love BTS now. He takes all his old stuff down from his shelves in the background. And he puts up a bunch of what looks like BTS merch, okay? And I put that in like very heavy quotations. Looks like BTS merch. Because when I went back and watched it with my friends who love BTS, literally BTS fans in the chat, they were looking at it and they were like, there's no way. This dude literally got counterfeit BTS merch. Counterfeit BTS merch. There's a backpack and I'm going to show it. It's hard to see though, because it's opaque. Like, again, it's over the YouTube video or the music video that he has. So it's the music video is playing. And then he's in the background putting on his backpack, his little like drawstring backpack, and putting all his stuff up.
For a graduation ceremony. Don't you?
Okay, let's get it.
Okay. And again, even if he did pay for a drawstring backpack from BTS, like he couldn't have gotten a nice jacket. Like he couldn't have paid like the money to buy a nice jacket if he genuinely cared about BTS. When is an adult going to use a drawstring backpack? Like, so it just goes into to see. So here's the photo. I'm going to put it probably right here of the fake drawstring backpack. And you know how much this backpack costs? Less than $30. And you know how I know? Because I found the exact backpack pack of items that he puts up. He makes a whole display of putting up on Amazon for $30. You get all of the here, I'm gonna also show you his background here as well. He has all of the, what are they called? The bracelets. All the bracelets that he lines up, all the little like posters and little things that he got from the pack. He puts the button on his shirt from the $30 pack on Amazon, the $30 fake pack. He's not even a big enough fan to support. And I was looking at BTS merch. I'm going to put some up too. Like, I don't listen to BTS enough, okay? I like what I've heard, but I'm not going to claim to be a fan, right? I'm not going to claim to be a huge fan that I know everything about BTS, but I was looking at their merch and their merch is so nice. Their merch is so cool. So why wouldn't you spend $30 to buy a really nice jacket? Like, here, let me show some. I'm going to show some right here. Because personally, I kind of want to buy some BTS merch. The jackets look really cool, and it would have made a huger impact, in my opinion, to have been like, oh, look at my graduation to BTS. Throw on that awesome jacket. Throw on a really cool jacket, BTS jacket. But he didn't do that. And the BTS outfits, like, I'm going to sound like I'm affiliated. I'm not affiliated, guys. But they looked really cool, and they were only like $30 for a jacket. Really, really nice quality jackets. Affordable prices, really affordable prices for a jacket. I was like, man, usually you go to some merch shops, they're like $60, but these are $40, pretty good for a sweater. And it would have made a bigger impact, but who am I to say, I guess. He couldn't be bothered to buy real BTS merch. He has absolutely zero hate comments on his BTS videos. I think it's because he's deleting comments. Maybe he has a filter on so you can't have any bad comments on there. We all know YouTube. There's going to be hate comments. There's going to be hate comments whether you like it or not. It's going to happen. And then he's literally self-aware enough to say, I'm not just doing it for the views. You can literally ask my wife.
Just do this, you know, just because like you're getting views, which, I mean, to be honest,
I can say that that is not true because he talks about it most of the time, and I feel like if it was fake, he just wouldn't care after.
Like his wife wouldn't lie for him. Because it just seemed interesting to me that he's gonna say that, especially when obviously she would lie for the money, for the clout. Yeah, why wouldn't she lie? Absolutely, she would lie. That's the easiest thing to lie about for him. And I just like that he's so self-aware. He's so self-aware that he's literally just doing it for the views. He said, guys, I'm not doing it for the views because, you know, it doesn't even bring me that many views. And then he shows his videos when he first posts them versus like a post that he had posted for like 2 years. And he's like, look, I only get 2,000 views on it. Okay, dude. The whole thing just seems very disrespectful to me, especially because of the racist comments he made. That's my main point.
I want to go back to when I was saying he's supporting them.
Uh-huh.
I didn't mean that as in he was like doing his best to make sure they get the money.
Mm-hmm.
What I meant by that is he wants to seem like he is supporting them.
Oh, yeah.
Like he wants to seem like he really does enjoy them genuinely.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. More so than actually making sure that industry gets the money or whatever.
That's true. That's true.
Like he went from completely hating them, not wanting to do anything for them, not cover their song, to now it changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
A complete 180 in like 6 months. And I guess
Yeah.
now the whole industry is fixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now he's supporting them, getting their merch, all this and that. You know, that's more
Yeah.
so what I meant.
Yeah. It's just weird that he acts like he's so passionate about something only to drop it immediately. That's why I think it's totally for the clout. And to wrap up the video, if it was only the BTS thing, and even then, like I know BTS fans will feel more strongly about it if y'all believe me, but it's there. The proof is in the pudding, I think. So obviously you don't have to listen to me. But I think this is a big deal, right? And I think it would be a big deal to me if I liked BTS a whole lot, right? But because I know how he is, and that he's disrespecting y'all. Like, he's not only disrespecting streamers, he's disrespecting BTS fans who've loved BTS from the beginning. And after being literally racist towards BTS, whatever, I don't know. It's a big deal to me. And I'm not even a huge BTS fan like you awesome people are, you know? Like, it's just so weird. It's so weird to me. And I feel like people should be warned to look out for predatory streamers who only use things like this, like that you care about, for clout, you know? If it's not the predatory pyramid scheme, it's the preying on your desire for charity causes. If it's not the desire for charity acts, it's your desire for social justice. Like, he's just gonna find anything that you're passionate about. And if all else fails, he'll appeal to your love of BTS. Like, that doesn't make, it's just so disrespectful. And I just want you all to see him as he truly is. I implore you, streamers and BTS Army, to please take a harder look at his content and make that choice given the information I shared and the attitude you see yourself, because he has hurt a lot of people. And I don't want him to hurt the BTS Army next, you know? That's all I have to say about it. Those are my closing thoughts. Swift, do you have any closing thoughts?
I think you summed it up perfectly. And anyone watching who is a doubter, if you just take a few moments to listen to him, I know this is going to sound weird, but just listen to how passionate he is in his videos. He sounds completely monotone
Yep.
while he's talking about it. And if, don't send hate is another good thing to end on.
Like, I
This
want
is
you to
not us-
listen, but don't hate.
Yeah, this is not us wanting to, like, cancel him or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of good points that he does that a lot of other people do too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take anything away from this video, just know to always watch out for yourself, and people may not be as genuine as you want to believe.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
maybe if you just watched his things now, you might not see it, but this is here as an educational tool. Again,
Yeah.
just for future people. Spiv, do you have anything you want to plug real quick?
No.
Well, I'm going to plug
I
Spiv.
appreciate you inviting me on to talk about it, because I was here for the GKD era.
Mm-hmm.
I know all the tea.
I'm gonna plug Spiv real quick. If you guys don't know Spiv, he's got a Twitch channel. He's the Spiv on Twitch. It's spelled the way that it sounds. I'll type it on the screen so you can see it. It'll be easier. He's a good chill streamer. He's pretty fun. He's pretty funny. I think you guys should check him out. Thank you for thank you for having me. Thank you for joining me, Spiv. I appreciate it. You guys know what to
Anytime.
do. If you guys like this video, please hit that like button. If you have any comments, please leave them below. Please don't send hate to GKD. Like, I just want you to watch. I just want you to see. Don't send hate. Don't write hate comments. I don't want that. I just want you to know. Okay. Leave a comment down below if you have any comments. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. I'm going to do a rant video every Monday, hopefully. Like, I'll record the video every Monday and I'll drop it every Tuesday. And then I'm going to do video game streams every Friday. So if you're interested in that, hit that subscribe button and the bell. I love you guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye.